Hey everyone, this is Hafizullah Masoudi and you're watching from Code with Hafiz. In our previous video, we discussed what is HTML and now we will write our very first HTML code and create a web page. Now, before everything else, what you need is a simple text editor to learn HTML, and it can be the built-in text editor that comes with your operating system. For example, in Windows, you can use Notepad. In Mac, you can use a TextEdit, or in Linux, you can use a text editor. Well, you can use professional HTML editors too if you like, but it's not recommended because for the first time when you want to learn HTML from scratch, it is recommended to use a simple text editor because it's a good way to learn HTML from scratch. So let's start learning HTML. Now I will open my built-in operating system text editor. Now you must remember from the previous video that each HTML document must have document declaration at the very beginning of the page. So to declare the document declaration, we can say like this. So let's say doc type and make sure to write it as I am writing, so doc type. And if you only declare doc type like this, it will mean that this is a simple HTML page. And if you want to use HTML5, in here we can put a space and we can say HTML. And note that this declaration is always required because it helps the browsers to display the web pages correctly, and it must appear only once at the top of the page before any other HTML tags. Now that's something important. And next we have the HTML document itself. So it begins with HTML and will close with /HTML. And now next up, for the visible part which will be displayed in the browser, we can declare our body tags. So let's say body and let's say /body. Now let's create our heading and let's also create a paragraph. So we can say h1 and let's say this is a heading, and we can close it by /h1, and let's also create a paragraph. Well, let's maximize the page or text editor, and in here let's say p, and let's say this is a paragraph. Now before running our web page in the browser, we need to save this file as a HTML document so we could be able to run it in the browser. Now let's save our file somewhere in the system, and then we will run it in the browser. So let's say Ctrl S for save, and I will save it in my desktop. So let's go to the desktop and let's create another folder and let's name it HTML projects. And now for the name of the file, let's name it index.html. and always remember that for HTML documents, the extension for the files should be HTML. Now let's save it, and you can see now our code is being highlighted for us, and now we know that it's a HTML file. And now let's try to run it in the browser. So what I will do is head to that directory, and I will use my terminal. You can use your file explorer too. So let's cd to desktop and then HTML projects, and if I ll, you can see now we have this index.html. And to open this directory, let's say notless and then dot. Well, this is because I'm using Linux, and if you are using Windows, you can simply go to that directory and open that directory using file explorer. So now let's double click this file. As you guys can see, this is our heading and this is the paragraph that we created. And if we check out the code or our page in the browser, we can right click on the page and go to view page source, and you can see it shows all of our HTML code in here. Now regarding the elements in a HTML document, an HTML element is defined by a starting tag and then some content and then the ending tag. So the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag, and keep that in mind. And in here you can also see that this is the starting tag and this is the ending tag. And for the body you can see we have a starting tag and an ending tag, and for the header as well as, and for the paragraph too. Now some HTML elements have no content, like the BR element or tag, and these elements are called empty elements, and empty elements do not have an ending tag, so keep this in mind too. And we can declare nested HTML elements too, and this means that elements can contain other elements inside them. And in here you can also see that the body or the HTML element has this nested body element, and then inside the body element we have these nested heading and paragraph. Now last but not least, you have learned how to create a web page using HTML, and you have learned how to create a heading or a first heading, and also how to create paragraphs. Now let's get back to our code, and I will show you some extra stuff too, and then we will finish our video in here. So besides H1 we have 5 more heading levels too, and headings start from H1 to H6. So what I mean is we have H2, and let's say this is a second heading, and let's say H2, and let's create an H3. This is a third heading, and this one should also have a slash, so let's say H3, and let's create, or let's put some dots here, and let's create our last one, which is H6, and let's say this is a sixth heading, H6. Now let's get back to our browser, and if I go to the project tab and refresh, you can see we have these kind of headings. And for the BR tag, if we go to the code, let's put a BR here, or before that let's write another paragraph 2 in here. So let's say this is another paragraph, and if we save this file and get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see it's all in one line. And if we put a BR tag in here, so let's say BR, and if we save it now, let's get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see the BR tag put a line break in here, and now we have 2 paragraphs. Now this was everything about creating our very first web page using HTML, and learn the basics like elements, headings and paragraph. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and if so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and a nice comment also. And if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe too if you want more videos like this. So thanks for watching, and see ya in the next video.